Hello, everybody. This is Yehna.
And this is Jessie.
Oh my goodness. This is episode 40. I just was reminded. It's crazy, meaning we've been on this for 40 weeks now. Probably more because
Yay!
we've mass recording before the summer break, but whatever. But we are excited for this episode because we are finally back at the same time zone and trying to get our routine back. Anyway, we wrestle with many different questions, but today we wanted to share more about what we learned over the summer. So, welcome and join us
At
at the
the
table.
table. Oh, it's like familiar, but also, I don't know, it feels weird, especially, I guess I'm in a new environment recording, but it's nice to get the headphones in and the mic set up and just chat like we always do.
It's so true because it's not just weird about the recording. Jessie and I, we've not sat down to catch up with each other in a hot second. So we were kind of in a dilemma because usually a lot of our episodes are inspired by our conversations and we've not had it. So we were like, oh my goodness, what do we even talk about today? But Jessie saved the day with reminding, oh my goodness, we should probably talk about the summer because that's important.
No, I just love that 5 minutes into catching up about life, we're like, oh, we should do this. And somehow it comes together. So we're
Beautiful.
always whipping it up last minute.
I love
But
it.
we're excited to talk about our summers. I mean, to be honest, we really haven't caught up a
Right.
lot. So I'm so excited just to hear more of the details of how God's been working in your life. And I feel like it's just such a good thing to, especially when you're students at the end of the summer, you kind of reflect, okay, how was the summer and how do I want to start my year, my
Mm,
school year? And it's kind of a good reset. So
yes.
I thought it'd be good if we did that. How was your summer, Yenna, and how, just overarching theme, how has God been working in your heart?
Honestly, it's been so good. This at the end of 2 months, I was so ready to come back and have routine for sure, but not because of any negative feelings. It was just the idea of having my bed back was beautiful. Overall, Korea was so good. We are going to talk about all the things I've learned over the summer. Has been so convicting and so challenging, but in a way that I needed to hear before I entered this school year. And so, kind of going over what I learned as an overarching theme was really to sit in his presence. I know that's so vague and so big. And honestly, that's something a lot of people in the church, what do you say, struggle with because it's such a abstract concept. Really, this year, I had so many questions going into the summer in the forefront of my mind, the back of my mind, just all over, all day, every day. Wake up at 3 a.m. trying to think about, oh my gosh, what do I even do with my life? So going into the summer, I didn't really expect it to be answered in a way. And neither was it like, this booming voice with this answer. This theme of to sit in his presence and really prioritize my relationship with him before like crying out for help or wanting him to change my career or do something about the timing of everything and any project or activities. It was before any of that comes, I need to set my relationship with him right before anything falls down in line. And honestly, that was, first of all, so humbling and so almost endearing because it just goes to show God prioritizes our relationship before anything else. Yeah, that is kind of the theme of my summer.
Yeah, it seems like you really encountered God in those moments. And not only were you able to share that with other people, it seems like you first were able to get right with God, and that has allowed you to, yeah, really be encouraged and also encourage others,
Mm.
which is was so cool to I wish I was by your side witnessing it, but I can just tell from the little that you have shared that
Mm.
yeah, God's been so faithful in that way for you. So, yeah. And just to let everyone know, like, what specifically you mean when you were in Korea, like, you did some conferences.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
what
yes.
specifically did you do?
To go over that. So I had like conference. I kind of like shared that before leaving Korea. I had a conference to attend, and that was I had the immense privilege and opportunity to speak in this conference and run a workshop where I shared my upbringing and my experience. And also, kind of, the workshop was about my experience as a TCK as a whole and MK as a whole. So that was just so amazing to see how God allowed me that, because it was very not last minute, but last minute in my mind. I didn't know this was going to happen in this year. So that was really cool. And then I was able to meet new friends, which was also unexpected. And through them, I learned so much. And honestly, I think that had to come first before the conference for my heart and mindset to be set correctly for this conference. And then at the end of the trip, I was able to spend a lot of quality time and time traveling around Korea with my dad's side of the family and reconnect with them, which was also so good. Not something I expected, in a sense that I didn't realize, wow, we have so many points of commonality and things we like, and realizing, wow, family is such a blessing. I'm just so glad we were able to connect in that way before we really had our own family and had less time to do this. So and I'll go more into it, but I want to hear from Jessie so that we both can get into the meat of it
Yeah.
together.
Sorry, I'm too in the like catch up mode that I'm like, ooh, I want to know about this and
Yeah.
that. This episode is not for everyone to hear. It's just
It's
basically
just
for
for
Yana
us.
and I to keep up. For me, I would say just a huge theme over and over. God's been reminding me that I put a cap on when, where, and how God can move in a space. And He's really challenged me to come with open arms to opportunities to really see Him shine. And I hate to admit that often I approach things like, okay, what am I going to get out of this? Or what is this worth my time? Or I want to maximize my situation. So I want to be efficient with who and when and how I spend my time. And so often I am not open to really hearing his voice in spaces that I don't think he will. And it's like, okay, Jess, well, why do you determine that? Why is that up to you? He's such a big God, and I need to put more trust in knowing that he will work when he wants to. And it's not up to me. Been very humbled to be reminded of that over and over. And I'll share more examples later. But that's that's been a theme, and just especially even going to into this school year, I want to be more interruptible. Am I an interruptible person? No, absolutely no. Like it's, and that really hurts me, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to, yeah, keep that in mind. So
I know. I
that's
think
me.
that waiting period and that sense of the unknown is so scary for not just you, but like all humankind. It's that piece to have everything planned out, or not even planned out, just knowing what to expect to come is just within our nature. So for us to say, God, you take over all of that, and to truly do that, oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it because it's so scary.
It
Honestly, kudos to you
is.
for you to even have that realization and to say,
Thank
okay,
you.
God, you're right. I'm not interruptible. And as painful as that was, God can't move or fill that need, or not just fill that need, be within that space until you say, God, please come in. Because God is so gentle. He just waits for
Mm-hmm.
you to open that door for him. And so,
Mm-hmm. And I
mm,
think a big part of that is inviting the Holy Spirit in. I was just talking about this yesterday with my young adults group. The Holy Spirit is always within us, like it's alive, it's active. But if we do not access that or invite him in, to actually invite him in verbally, or even just saying it out loud, inviting him into our hearts, even though he's there, just asking that, it just makes a world's difference. And I think we've both over the summer just learned to really rely on the Spirit and to actually have a relationship with him.
mm,
And that has allowed for more of those realizations or just convictions. So,
yeah, I just realized both of us really comes down to understanding the power of the Holy Spirit.
mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm,
I feel like sometimes we dismiss that. I mean, we dismiss a lot of things,
mm-hmm.
but
For
yeah.
real though,
Anyway, share
to
more.
go, yeah.
Yeah.
So going more into what that looked like over the summer. I mean, being in Japan and Korea, I think I said it a couple episodes ago. I knew God was gonna do something big through me traveling by myself, but I just didn't know what it was. And I was just there to eat and have fun. And God was like, let me heal you here.
Mm,
Let me just ooh, unleash some of those hurts that you've had from maybe being in dry Christian communities, maybe being in a space and learning how broken Japan is and admitting to that. Because, as much as I feel like we both can relate to this, as much as we love our home and we see it from a childlike view, the reality is, I mean, our countries are so broken and desperately need God.
true.
And just going back as an adult and realizing like how lonely some of these people must feel and how empty broke
Mm,
my heart. And so, yeah, that's one way that God has really moved in my heart this summer. Being forced to be alone for a week. Everyone knows like I hate being alone for too long. Like I like my alone time, but I don't like that it's not a choice to be alone, but I had to enjoy my own company. Like I ate out by myself. I walked around and traveled places by myself. And I wanted to do that, but it's uncomfortable. So learning to, yeah, just really appreciate me, myself, and I has been huge. And those are moments where I've encountered God and really practiced talking to Him.
mm,
As I'm walking, as I'm eating, as just the small, you're able to see the world in such a different lens. So that's something that I found joy in through being by myself. It's like the small things like I moved to the city and I am enjoying just the lakefront and how beautiful the city is, which I never thought I would be able to experience. But I'm like, wow, God, you did not have to give this to me.
that's
And
amazing.
it's just so accessible now. Yeah, I'm just feeling so overwhelmed and blessed. So, yeah, those are the few things that I would say have just been huge in reminding me He can move and work anywhere. And you just have to be open to it. Even, sorry, two more things.
No, keep
I'm
going.
like,
I
there's
love
so
it.
much.
It's making my brain stir.
No, even I stayed with relatives that I wasn't close to, and I didn't really think much about it. But them actually wanting to know me and like actually, I enjoyed my time with them. Wow, God, this was an unexpected blessing. I wasn't expecting much from me spending time with them, but that time actually was very important for me. And it ended up being one of my highlights too. So that, but also the past 48 hours have been absolutely crazy. Like my flight got canceled. I got locked out of my car. I got rained on. My jeans bled all over my tote bag. Just everything went wrong. And I'm like, you know what? God is just reminding me that nothing is going to go my way. And you just mentally prepare me for the school year of like, if you cannot get through these past 48 hours with patience and immediately turn to me with prayer, girlfriend, you are not gonna make it through this school year. So it's just been a
Ah,
constant theme of God humbling me and reminding me I cannot do this on my own and that I need to come with open hands, open arms for Him to work. The end.
you don't have to convict me like that. All right. Oh my goodness. It just also reminds me, I don't know where I heard this or who specifically said this, but whenever you're sharing whatever you're sharing, just reminded me of the practice of being quiet and silent. And
Mm-hmm.
almost not just God gave that opportunity, but you have to.
You
And
have to. Yep.
yeah, and I think that was, and also the practice of slowing down. And yes, I know where I learned that one. That one was from Mission, but I'm just realizing how important that is because now we're finally not determining the timing of how our life is supposed to go, but we're letting
Mm-hmm.
go of the core thing that we hold on to is how our life is supposed to play out. Wow, you learned a pretty intense lesson, especially entering into a school year and a career that where we truly have no control over.
You
Sorry,
think you get better at surrendering, and then you're like, nope.
no,
It's a daily practice of surrendering.
so true. Every day something pushes a button and you realize, I didn't know I had to let that go. I didn't know how to let that one go either. And whether it was intentionally or just subconsciously didn't realize you're holding on to something. But don't worry, guys. God will make a way to show you how much pride you're
He's
holding on to.
he's got his ways. I know. What about you, Yana? How was God
Yes.
stripping down your pride here?
Ugh. Oh my goodness. I kind of mentioned it, but meeting those girls, we also talked about this in our episode while we were both in Korea,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it was, first of all, such a blessing. If they're listening, guys, you know who you guys are. You guys have been such a huge highlight. And I don't just mean that to pump your guys' ego or anything. It was amazing. And I was so blessed to have talked with them and had conversation, quality time with them before entering into this conference. Because quite honestly, as much as I did my best to be in a posture where I wanted to be humble and have a posture of learning, I had so many walls up still. And
Mm,
I was
hmm.
very afraid because I'm not gonna lie, there has been conferences or church gatherings or whatever. When I go in, I came out with more pain and more bitterness in my heart,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a lot of things that I don't want to justify it, but almost valid reasons why I had these walls up. And but even though I was not talking about the conference with these girls, I was talking about kind of ranting about like, why isn't God just showing up and showing me how to get things done? Why can't he maneuver in ways that I can tangibly feel and see that he is working things out for me? And I was kind of hoping for like a little pep talk, girl, yeah, you got this. And but instead they were kind of like, have you ever considered maybe that was him in his gentle way calling out to spend time with you? And I'm like,
Whoosh.
done. I
Mic
immediately
drop.
went quiet. I was so speechless. And that's exactly what I needed. It was basically God be like, shut up and listen to me, please. I'm trying to get your attention. Oh my gosh. And he got my attention. And I cannot,
Mm,
and God really used these girls to speak to me. And until I had that in my mind, I truly would not have entered this conference with this conviction and this actual mindset to have a humble heart and a posture to actually learn and listen to all that people had to say. Kind of going back to what I said, entering into his presence. And it doesn't just mean laying prostrate on the floor. That could mean that too, but it was for me to finally say, okay, I'm going to stop asking for A, B, and C, but saying, God, show up, please. Show up in
mm,
my head the way you are going to show up.
mm,
And during this conference, I was sharing this with Jessie because I was so blown away by the immense love these people had for not just NK, but for God, and this desire to worship him. And I was so humbled because everyone in that room was in a season of waiting, because the borders of
mm,
NK is completely closed. Whatever they want to do is not moving. And this has been going on for years now. And so, I thought I was the only one in this season of drought, but it was like, no. And seeing them be in that season, but their posture was so different. There was so
mm,
much joy and there was so much peace and so much humility. And so I realized, wow, the power of just listening and asking him to show up in a way that he wants to changed so much. And through this conference, the next point example was this whole trip, to be very vulnerable, I was so dreading and so anxious about coming back, not to Texas, but
mm,
to go to work. And I know that sounds so terrible as a teacher, but I was. And honestly, sometimes I still think about it in my head. It was to the point I would wake up multiple times a night where it was just, I can't do this. I can't do this. And finally, it was saying, I hope that you show up right now. Not, oh, God, can you take away my career or take away this? Is God, show up in these moments now? I'm really hoping I don't lose sight of that desperation. I don't
mm,
fall content in God moving, if
mm.
or like just thinking he's gonna do it. They take that for granted. Anyway, sorry, I went
Mm.
off. But
No.
that has been such a powerful and in the best way possible, painful conviction that I learned over this summer. And I really,
Mm,
really pray and hope that it just stays with me as I enter
mm.
the school year.
Yeah, that hunger, that craving, that desperation won't
Mm,
won't go away, that we would always be reminded of that. I can just tell that for both of us, this summer has been full of encountering people that are so on fire and desperate for God.
mm,
And that has just so inspired us. I mean, it really makes a difference on who you
yeah,
surround yourself with and
so true.
who you choose to interact with and talk, like be open up to and be vulnerable with. And it seems like we've both found new people that have surprised us. Yeah, and allowing us to open up and bring those walls down. So very,
Yes,
very grateful. Very
so
grateful.
grateful.
But
Mm.
yeah, as we think about the next couple weeks and the school year starting and new end of a chapter, end of summer, starting school year, how do you hope to then carry this to the fall season for you, Yana?
Kind of on the topic of being vulnerable. So I am back in the school building. Kids are not back yet, but we had to do setup. And I'm just going to confess it up front so that it keeps me accountable moving forward. I've not done a very good job at this. I'm already feeling so exhausted and so frustrated. And honestly, uh, I'm gonna use this word even though it's strong. I feel very discouraged, I'll be honest, about this
Hmm.
upcoming school year. And not I won't go into detail. Yeah, I won't do that. But just overall. And so I'm and I think that's also because I'm not looking at what God can do, but what humankind should do. And so I
Hmm.
realized I need to put aside me in everything and really be in a posture, first of all, of surrendering it to God. The second of service. I shouldn't go into this hoping I gain anything. And that's not just me saying,
Hmm.
I'm not going to get anything out of this. Not that, but really not
Hmm.
saying, God, I hope this pays more. Because let's be honest, that we talk about that all the time. And it is a valid thing, but that shouldn't be the thing that permeates my brain. Or this isn't aligned with what I vision. I need to stop doing that. So, in order to do all that, it really comes back to spending quality time with God and filling my heart and my head with the things that are important and things that matter and things that would guide my life towards Christ. And I think that spiritual walk, but also that comes with being healthy. So I really am trying to get back into working out. I'm very proud after work. I don't come back to bed. I go straight to the gym. Look at me. Just kidding. But hoping to continue that even on days where I just want to skirt my car straight to home. Jessie and I were saying how much we were filled by godly people and godly conversations, hoping to continue that even back home. And if it's not other people initiating it, being courageous and brave and vulnerable enough for myself to be the one initiating that with others, hoping that these practical steps are ways to invite the Holy Spirit into every aspect of my life and my thoughts and my speech. Am I good at it? Like I said, no.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, it's real. It can be discouraging, and I think you know the weight of what it means to show up well and how you need to show up well, and that requires a lot of effort, not
Mm,
just in your work hours, but it's a full 24-hour job to take care of yourself, to feed yourself so that you can pour out. It's a full day thing
mm.
that isn't easy. Like to rest requires effort, like
Ugh,
even so
yes.
I totally understand that. And I mean, that's what I'm going to experience soon in 2 days. So I'm sure I'll feel that too. But I just want to let you know, like, you aren't alone in that. I feel like every teacher has that preschool year anxiety.
Mm.
Um, so you are
Yay.
not alone. You got this.
Thanks.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I feel like our themes have been pretty similar
I
of what
know.
we've taken away from this summer, which is amazing.
I know. I love it.
God both spoke to us individually, and then we come together and we're like, what?
What?
Same.
Similar.
Yeah. For me, yeah, I don't know. I just always have a set idea of how things should go, whether that's in my friendships or at work. And I really want to challenge myself to be more open and be bold with conversations, not just with my kids, but with my coworkers and stepping into new spaces. I'm like, yeah, like I assess whether it's worth my time or if it's going to benefit me. And it's like, no, just be open. Don't miss these moments where you have no idea God could really speak to you. And I don't want to miss these small moments of being able to encounter more of God.
Mm,
Uh, and so being intentional with the small, unexpected, but yeah, the small, unexpected, but end up being the biggest blessing moments.
right. Being interruptible.
Being interruptible. Oh, that's so hard. I hate being interrupted.
I know, same. It's a pet peeve. I'm not gonna lie.
I know it's a
Uh,
struggle, but I wonder what it's like for you guys as you step in. And some of you guys don't even have a new reset. You
right.
might just be working all year long, or you might be going back to school. I don't know. But I wonder as the warm season ends and fall
Hmm.
and winter approach, like how do you want to finish well? How do you want to continue this race as we're more than halfway done of the year? So
Right. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I
That's
know.
not allowed.
2023 is flying by.
We have
Flying
4
by.
months left. Sorry,
I
guys. I didn't mean to scare you
know.
guys. Sorry. Cut that out. Anyway,
So
thank
yeah.
you for being so honestly so patient with our inconsistent uploads. I thought I had the time zone down, but apparently I didn't. And then life happened and everything went down. But thank you for being patient with the inconsistency and kind of the absence the past 2 weeks. But hopefully we'll be back on a routine. Not hopefully, we will be back on a routine and we'll continue to pump these episodes out and all of those things. Thank you for listening as always. We're on Instagram, we're on Spotify and YouTube. I'm actually very surprised in the poll you guys said you guys listen more on Spotify. So very interesting, very insightful. But anyway, thank you and cannot wait to share more on our next episode. Until then, bye.
Bye.